Oh, hi everyone. I'm Alexia Clemens with White Book Real Estate. I am here with Mary Ellen Troilo from Phoenix Star over in Melbourne. Mary Ellen, you do mortgages. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Not a problem, Alexis. My pleasure.
I'm hearing people talking that no one is able to get a mortgage right now if you're looking to buy. Is that true?
No, it's not.
Okay.
What I have always told people is consider your source.
Okay.
If the only one you're listening to is the media's job from a communication standpoint is to sell negativity. And I'm not bashing the media, but if you want to know if you can get a loan or not, you should go straight to the source, right, which are the individuals that actually do mortgages on a day-to-day basis.
So if somebody was, let's say they needed to sell their house and to buy another right now, should they just go to their bank and see about getting a mortgage?
It depends, Alexis, because if you look at the banks today, the big banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, they have so many applications right now with the payroll protection program that's one pillar of how they're doing business.
Right.
They also do business with checking accounts, savings accounts, car loans, boat loans, mortgages. So my point is they have so many different sources of income that if they don't necessarily have to do mortgages right now, that would be okay. Right. And that's classified as the retail side of lending. Okay. When you go straight to the bank. Okay.
Right.
I don't think you're going to get the best service at a bank because they are so inundated with these applications for the small businesses.
Right. Well, that's what I'm hearing. The people are not able to get a mortgage. I think that's the source.
I think it is too. Because with the rates as low as they are, think about it. The bank, and you don't like to think of a bank as a business, but they are.
Right.
The rates are so low right now that when a bank gives you the loan, you're locked into that low interest rate for probably a 15 or a 30-year loan period. Right. And the odds of you refinancing that under normal circumstances are probably pretty slim.
Right.
So the bank has tightened up on their guidelines. Okay. So instead of saying no, they've kind of increased their guidelines to say, well, we're going to require a higher credit score for this time frame right now, so that they can take their mind off the mortgages. And then granted, this is just my opinion. And then they start processing these other applications for the small business loan. An alternative source for mortgages is going to be a mortgage broker. We're classified as the wholesale side. And the advantage of a mortgage broker is that they don't do business with just one bank. They do business with multiple banks across the spectrum, so that depending on what your circumstances are, we can kind of pick and choose what bank has what guidelines to see if you qualify.
Fantastic.
And then, of course, you have the credit unions, which are good, but credit unions typically are a little bit more conservative all the way around, even in the best circumstances. But if you have your, a large down payment, or even if you've got like very high credit scores and a no-brainer income situation, then sometimes a credit union might be the way to do, because they loan their own money. They answer to shareholders. Okay. So my recommendation to individuals would be to probably go to a mortgage broker. And if you've got really good credit scores, and you do want to secure your credit right now, you really want to protect your credit. If you're working with a loan professional, they should be asking you not just what you want today, but where are you going to be in a year, where are you going to be in 2 years? Right. Because it makes a huge difference, especially with the refis too. If you have somebody that says, well, I'm going to sell it in 3 to 5 years when things get worked out, well, it might not be a good idea to refinance it now.
Right.
Because you're still going to have fees to do it. Whether you pay it in the form of a higher interest rate, whether you pay and it's rolled into the loan, there's still fees with a refi.
So it sounds to me like if somebody wants to refinance or they want to get a mortgage, what they really need to do is seek out and find a reputable mortgage broker who has access to many different sources of lending, who will ask them the right questions that they don't know to provide the information.
Correct.
Will ask them the right questions so that they can get the best fit.
Correct, because there's different sources. You've got loans with the VA, the Veterans Administration. You've got FHA through the Department of HUD, and then you've got conventional loans. Well, let's take FHA, for example. FHA, according to the Department of HUD, you can get a loan as low as a 500 credit score.
Okay.
But HUD's guaranteeing it, but HUD's not providing the funds. The banks are providing the funds. So the banks are allowed to put whatever credit overlay they want on top of those guidelines. So they might say, well, you know what? I'm not going to do this at a 500 credit score, which is pretty low. We want a minimum of a 640 credit score.
Okay.
Whereas 60 days ago, you could have done it for 580, 620, depending on the bank. Okay, so every loan has different guidelines. So when working with a mortgage professional, you want somebody that is familiar with FHA and conventional, so they can actually show you the difference, and say, well, what are the pros and cons of each loan? You want somebody that's probably been in the industry for a little while, that's familiar with these loan programs and have seen the changes along the way. Because the same thing kind of happened in 2008 as our market started to go down. And you and I are located in Florida, so we saw a significant reduction in equity. The guidelines started to change. And they tightened up and they tightened up and they tightened up. Well, then as the market started to revamp itself, we saw those same guidelines starting to loosen up. And I think this is going to be the same situation. So I think my best advice for somebody that's out there looking for a home is to talk with a lender and ask them for the list of financials that they're going to need based on their circumstances. And make sure that you get everything on that list as a consumer. And it's because the more complete your file to your loan officer, the smoother this process. And in an uncertain time, smooth is what you want. Okay. So get that paperwork to them. And, and it can get a little frustrating, but if a consumer gets frustrated and saying, well, I already sent that to the lender and you've sent it twice, pick up the phone and say, okay, let's stop here. Okay. I've sent this to you. Why are you not accepting it? Because usually there's a reason.
Gotcha.
Don't just get frustrated with it. Just take a step back and breathe. Pick up the phone and say, okay, what's going on here?
Gotcha. We've had a stay-at-home order. So if they've been if they're looking to buy, but when you look back, they were out of work, is that going to affect, how does the credit and employment qualifications, what are you seeing right now?
Well, every bank is going to be different, but I can tell you that they're going to have to be back at work in order to close on it. Because, we've had situations before where, let's, for example, take a woman. She's on maternity leave for 3 months, 4 months, and she's applying for a loan. She's back to work. We ask for a letter of explanation.
Gotcha.
Okay. But she's back to work. Okay. So if the consumer is somebody that's on salary, they're on an hourly rate, and their hours haven't changed too much there, I don't think they're going to have an issue. Now, some people will have a problem getting a loan right now. Okay. But other ones
won't. That's not everyone.
No, it's not everyone. And consumers feel that confident that their position is going to continue, and their employer gives them that indication, that I don't see any reason why they should not be able to buy today.
Okay, wonderful. Well, see, that's good information from the proper source. I trust you, because you always give a little extra.
You're welcome, Alice. I appreciate that.
So I look forward to talking to you. I'm going to check back with you in a couple of weeks when all this kind of washes out and see if you're seeing anything different. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, wonderful. Have a great day.